Friend of Bump, we like to have these back on the show. We have one joining us now for the second time in 2020. We don't have animals for him this time. I know he has plenty at home, but he joins us ahead of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Bump, Kevin Owens.
Hey,
What an ovation. Thanks, guys.
we did the best we could.
Just getting you ready. Just getting you ready for the weekend. This is your fourth WrestleMania, but it also means we get a new KO Mania shirt. This year's playing off the Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan poster from WrestleMania 4. So I want to ask you, how did this concept, when it started with KO Mania 1 and the shirt, how did that come about? And for next year, when we get KO Mania 5, will it be that the Mega Kevins explode?
Well, so the first year, it's kind of funny because we had to actually everybody involved with the shirt, we all kind of had to do it behind like Vince McMahon's back without his knowledge because everybody was kind of worried that he would kill it if he heard about it. So I couldn't wear it on TV or anything like that, but we still put it out, and we just used I just had the idea of using that year's WrestleMania logo as the base for the shirt and then adding the KO to it and whatever. But then once that did pretty well, the next year we were talking about KO Mania 2 and we were looking for an idea, but we didn't want to reuse the same concept and just use that year's logo. So one of my buddies, Tom, actually had the idea of using the old WrestleMania logos from, the matching years.
Sure.
So after he gave me that idea, I thought that was really clever, and I thought people would really like it. So we started doing that, and then I started wearing them on TV around the time when they come out around WrestleMania season, because that way I guess we're kind of not really taken away from that year's logo or whatever, since it's like a retro logo, so I can actually wear them and not worry about somebody going, what the hell is he wearing? What is this? So that worked. And then we just go with whatever that year the poster for the show was. Of course, as far as next year goes, I don't know if we're gonna have a KO Mania 5 shirt, because last year I wasn't on WrestleMania, so it stands to think that maybe next year I won't be on WrestleMania. Who knows? I would have never thought that would be the case, and last year it happened. So if there is a KO Mania 5, I'm sure the Mega Powers are gonna be in peril for sure.
On the topic of T-shirts, though, Kevin, you recently came out with another new shirt, which I'm wearing right now. Just Keep Fighting, and you said that all the profits from the shirts will go to two mental health organizations, the Canadian Mental Health Association in Canada and the National Alliance for Mental Illness here in the States. You talked about this a bit in a tweet, but for our audience, the Bump audience, why did you feel so compelled to do that, and why is that so important to you and your family?
Yeah, so my share of the profits are going to go to those organizations because basically, once I started using that phrase, in promos and on Twitter, the Just Keep Fighting thing, I could see the response it got from people. And people made it, not they made it, but like they took it in a way and made it for themselves to matter in their lives. So whatever they were going through, like obstacles that they were going through, whether, a lot of people that were battling, severe illnesses, reached out to me and said that they were using that phrase to try to keep them, keep their head in the game and try to, keep fighting, which is the literal phrase. And then other people were talking to me about their issues with mental health and their mental health struggles and stuff like that. And, everybody has people around them that struggle with mental health. Like I've had it in my family, my grandfather, before he passed away, I dealt with mental health issues, and like it's everybody can relate to that. And when I saw the response that people had toward that message, because to me it was always about more than just physically fighting in the ring, and it was true before that too. The fight Owens fight phrase that I used to use before that, it was always about more than just physically fighting in the ring, right? But now I have this platform and I'm able to kind of deliver that message differently. So once I decided that we were going to go with that shirt, I had a discussion with my wife, because I felt, after seeing everybody's tweets, everybody's messages, and reading all these people's stories, I felt like there was no way I couldn't try to make this into something very positive. And my wife and I agreed that we would donate the profits that we make from the shirts to these organizations. And we discussed who we would give the profits to, who we would donate to, and we figured mental health organizations were the best way to go, because even people that are dealing with illnesses and stuff like that, everybody needs a strong mental health, and to get through anything they go through in life, that's just part of what we, especially in the times we live in now,
Sure.
The timing was pretty appropriate. So that's what we decided to do. And it's just, we just want to help,
Fantastic.
It's amazing, and we applaud you for that. And everybody can get that shirt on WWE Shop, so make sure you go check that out. Let's transition over now to WrestleMania. And since you last joined us in studio here on The Bump, your rivalry with Seth Rollins, which was going on at the time, has really heated up, much to the enjoyment of us in the WWE Universe from an entertainment standpoint. But you also seem, I would say, more driven than ever. What kind of feelings has this constant battle with Seth Rollins really stirred up?
We've been going at it for so long that ultimately all I've wanted this whole time since, it's November. It's been since November now. All I wanted this whole time was a one-on-one match, and it just never happened for various reasons. Seth had his entourage the whole time, and even I ended up, getting backup that I didn't expect, and it became this whole thing. But, now it's back down to where it all started, which is me and Seth, and we've known each other for so long, and we've been on opposite spectrum of opposite ends of our WWE careers in a way, have kind of been similar in terms of accomplishments and things we've done, but the way we got there and the way we were viewed by the people in charge and stuff, it was so different going into it. So it's been a pretty interesting ride. And the other week there, when he talked about all his WrestleMania accomplishments as opposed to mine, and how I wasn't even good enough to be on WrestleMania last year, all that stuff was really, he spoke the truth in a way, and it really stung. So now that we're doing WrestleMania, it's me and him one-on-one, and the fact that it's taking place at the Performance Center, which is an incredibly meaningful place for me, it's kind of a weird way to bring everything back around, and it's going to be I know people, due to the circumstances we're facing, people might have a hard time believing this, but it's extremely special to me that WrestleMania is taking place in that building. I can't wait to make the best of it and get, give people a great match. But more importantly, I can't wait to beat Seth and get a WrestleMania moment I can be proud of,
I know we're all disappointed that the match is not happening in Raymond James Stadium, and you mentioned the circumstances, but as you said, because it's happening in the Performance Center, it almost feels like it should be happening there just because of what your careers, as you said, have run kind of parallel, but now they're intersecting here. Do you feel like this match happening in the Performance Center has actually made everything mean that much more?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I said that on Raw the other day, I really meant it. It's crazy that the circumstances and everything have led to things being this way. But that building, so I'm sure it's hard for people on the outside looking in to understand just how meaningful that building can be to someone. Because, when I first stepped foot there, it was at a point in my career where I had been doing this for 15 years, and I know it's cliched, and we've told this story so many times, but I had been told by so many people for so long I was never going to make it there to WWE. So when I got to the Performance Center, I still remember, even though it was several years ago, I still remember the feeling I had when I first stepped foot through those doors. And I remember like the first time, like a little story here for the first time I was going to go to the Performance Center was a month or so before I started in August 25th. But about a month before that, they brought me out to Orlando just to come, for a day or two to hang around the Performance Center and get to know people and just kind of get used to the place. And I remember I landed, it was going to be my first time at the Performance Center since I had my tryout. And I was so nervous. And I don't get nervous. Like, I had been doing this for a long time. I really don't get nervous about much in wrestling anymore. And at that point, I didn't already. And I landed and I went to change in the airport restroom. And I tried to put, like, product in my hair so that I'd look presentable. And I didn't even realize what I was doing. I ended up putting soap, hand soap from the bathroom in my hair because I was just so thrown off by what was happening in a way. Because at this point, I knew I was officially in WWE, and this was my first time at the Performance Center. And it was like that building and everything in it, the people I met in it, like just... I don't know how to really convey properly the meaning of that place to so many of us. It's certainly not just me. I want to make that clear. Like the guys and girls that are going to perform at WrestleMania, Saturday and Sunday, there's so many of us that have similar stories to the one I'm telling. And a lot of it comes back around to Dusty. Because Dusty was so special to so many people there. And a lot of us are on that WrestleMania card coming up. So, for all of us to get to perform there, where we, as far as WWE goes, where we kind of earned our stripes, within the company there. And we all have so many good memories from the people there and, Dusty in particular. It's just really special. I really don't know how else I can put it.
No, that's incredible and incredible insight. And that's the importance of this year's WrestleMania. But as we know, and we got to talk about it with you when you were here with us a few months ago, you're a fan, just like me and Matt. You're a fan. Yeah. You're a WrestleMania fan. And what we've had fun doing on these last couple of shows, Matt and I, are asking people that are coming on about their favorite WrestleMania moments. Do you have one? Do you have a favorite WrestleMania? When you think of WrestleMania, what do you think about? Not involving you. Not involving you. I was there
live for... Yeah, right. I mean, none of my favorite moments ever involved me, so rest assured. I've been there live for a few WrestleManias before I started performing on them myself. WrestleMania 30 was pretty special because I was in the crowd for, Daniel Bryan winning the title and everything, and that was such an incredible moment. And I remember... So every year I would be in the city that WrestleMania was taking place because all the independent promotions, would ride WrestleMania's coattails and try to put shows around the area and stuff. And I would never go to WrestleMania. I went in Orlando for WrestleMania 24. Me and Sami Zayn were actually sitting together for that show with my wife. And then I went, the next one I went to was WrestleMania 30. Because even though I would never go to WrestleMania, because, it was a day, if I went to WrestleMania, it was an extra day away from my family, and I never wanted to do that, so I would always just come home the Sunday and watch WrestleMania from home with my wife and my son and whatever. But that year, WrestleMania 30, I had to stay because I wanted to see Daniel Bryan live, because I had a pretty good, feeling that he was going to win the title. And even then, if he wasn't, leading up to that show, the story with Bryan had been so incredible that I just had to see it live, because of who he was to me on the independents and what, he was somebody very influential, somebody I admired, somebody I looked up to, and I just could not be, I could not be there live to see it. So that one was a big one because I also saw Cesaro win the first Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and that was an incredible moment. And, Cesaro and I go way back as well. Then, Daniel Bryan winning the title. So those are pretty great memories as far as WrestleMania goes. But I was also in Toronto for WrestleMania 18, and Rock and Hogan is, that match, the people that were in that, like, if you watch it on TV, the crowd, everything that happens, it's incredible. But I really can't put it into words what it felt like to be there live. It was mind-blowing. It really was. So that's an incredible memory from WrestleMania. And then I was also at WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles, and Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels that night put on one of the best matches I've ever seen live. So that's a pretty great memory too. So there's quite a few to pick from, and it's very hard to just pick one.
Absolutely.
But I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate to have been in attendance for so many of these great WrestleMania moments. Actually, ironically enough, one of my favorite moments is another moment I was there for live, but I was actually part of the company. It was WrestleMania 31. I was NXT champion at the time, and the company had brought me, to California for WrestleMania as part of the company. And I obviously wasn't on WrestleMania, but I was there to watch Seth Rollins win the WWE title. When he cashed in his Money in the Bank contract, and there's footage of me clapping and kind of celebrating with him after his win. And now here we are, 5 years later, and we're at each other's throats. So it's kind of funny how life works out.
1 year after that, and 2 years after you were at WrestleMania 30, you made your debut at WrestleMania 32 in the Intercontinental title ladder match. And you mentioned being at WrestleMania with Sami Zayn. He was also in that match with you. Everyone knows the story of your careers coming up together, wrestling, being friends. How much did it mean for both of you to be making your WrestleMania debuts in that same match? And how much did it mean to you personally? Because I remember when you made your entrance, how evident it was how fired up you were. So if you could take us back to that moment and what it meant to you and meant to you as friends.
Yeah, so, when Seth was talking the other day about me not having, real WrestleMania moments, I was thinking, it's funny, just last night, actually, I was walking my dogs around my neighborhood here, and I was thinking, like, is he right? Did I really not have WrestleMania moments? Because what consists of a WrestleMania moment? And obviously it's something that you'll remember forever. But beyond that, it's something that I think you'll remember, like when it happened, how you were feeling, and like you'll that will stay with you forever too. It's more than just the memory of that moment; it's the memory of the feeling you had when it happened. And I would say my entrance at that WrestleMania is like a WrestleMania moment, because I remember exactly what I felt in that moment, because my music hit. And like, I remember being in gorilla or whatever, the gorilla position for the when the show begins, they always have this incredible montage and, the music and the video and all that stuff. And I was getting goosebumps because the song they used for that particular video to open WrestleMania is a song that I used to listen to hype me up as I trained or anytime like I was doing anything that I needed to get hyped up for, whether it was, getting ready for matches from the independent scene or whatever. And I would never not picture myself in WWE when my thoughts would start, going and I'd hear this music and I'd just be getting hyped up. And my ultimate goal was always to end up here. So the fact that they were using this song, and I'm watching the intro to my first WrestleMania, and they're using this song, it was like, oh man, this is like, it's like meant to be. And then, a few minutes later, I watched everybody make their entrance for our ladder match, and I was last because I was the champion, and my music hit. And very rarely will I brag about something like that, but man, the people's reaction to my music, I will never forget it. And Sammy also talks about it because he was in the ring already, and he said when your music hit, they went insane. And it's true. It was so special. And then walking down that ramp for the first time and just seeing getting the first real look at the crowd and just the scope of it all. I'll really remember that feeling. I had a bunch of cameras following me for my DVD that they were shooting at the time. And after the match, I remember saying, if my career was, if my career ends tomorrow, I'll be happy because of what I did tonight. And I meant it. It was so, and that whole match, like, it was beyond being in the ring with Sammy, which was, after grinding it out together for so long and, you know, trying to get to WWE together, which we succeeded at, and then getting to be part of our first WrestleMania at the same time together. And there's like a part at the beginning of the match where we both grab a ladder and look up at each other. And the crowd goes crazy just for us looking at each other because they understand that moment too, and they felt it just like we did. And then we start, you know, fighting, and the people just eat it up. And it was just, but there's like more than that. There's just, it's like everybody in that match had special moments too. And, you know, through the years, I grew pretty fond of everybody that that was in that match with me. So like after the match, I was thinking of the match and just, I don't know, it was just the fact that everybody in that match got special moments, and the crowd, and the fact that it was WrestleMania, like I was so overwhelmed. So, you know, that's a WrestleMania moment, because I was like, as I'm talking about it now, I'm still getting goosebumps. Yeah, that first WrestleMania was really something special. You probably figured that out by the fact that I've been talking about it nonstop for about 5 minutes.
And you know what? That means that much more to the fans, your fans, and us, especially with a match coming up against Seth Rollins, which, as you said, because it's happening in the Performance Center and because of your history with the moments, I don't care what he said. You've clearly made those moments, and they mean something to you, and I know you're going to carry that into WrestleMania when you face him at the WWE Performance Center. So, Kevin, thanks for joining us. Good luck. Get back to your family.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.
Okay.
Best of luck.
Take care.